everybody. Welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane, Mark, and Molly is down here getting pets. She was up where you could see her, but she decided right before we hit record to lay down
She
here.
is in it, though.
Yeah, she's in these pets.
She's like, yes.
Anyways, today is June 19th, and we are in week 3 of our Heroes and Quests month. So the archetype is the Pathfinder. In week 3 is the transformation. So this is the week we see a lot of transformations in either the things around us, within ourselves, or even the way people act around us. Today's a fun day. I say that about every day, you know? Like we go into every day, and I just really like how we set it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know how you constantly say, like, yeah, I built all of them in last December, but you helped me with a lot of the stories. And there are certain cultures that as I was making it and doing all this stuff, I see are really underrepresented.
Yeah.
And it's making me excited for the books that we're doing.
Yeah.
Because these that we're doing now are a little bit easier because we're working on Greek now. Probably one of the easiest mythologies to work with because it's so well known. But anyways, today, I like it so much because today is the gift. So today is all about the gift and the reward that is earned. So today is just a really nice day as a hero because we all, honestly, it doesn't matter what path we go down, we are the hero in our own journey. And today is a day where we actually get a reward that's well earned, that we worked for. And so the lesson for today is that worth invites blessing. Okay. So some of these stories, you had to work a little bit harder for the worth. And in some of these stories, as you'll see, the winner wrote the story for sure, because the one that was worthy of the gift and definitely didn't get it in some of these, but they got their own reward. So there's also this sense that the gift isn't always something tangible either. Sometimes it's liberation from life, as dark as that may sound.
Right.
Some of these beings, that is the gift that they get.
Yeah.
And then some of these others, the gift that they bestow on others leads to their ultimate demise. A little Easter egg for those of you who know, But we're going to see this through Norse, Greek, Pueblo, and Celtic folklore today. And I believe it is, I know that the Corn Maiden gift, the USA one, it's in a lot of different regions, but there were some specific things that were pulled from that group in particular. We talked about that story the other day because I really like it. And I like corn. It's corn.
She does.
Anyways, today we're going to think, after we listen to these 4 stories, what was I given? We're going to kind of think too with some of these stories on the ones that, hey, they didn't really earn it, or this person earned it more, but then what was I given? Was I given help that didn't get, things? Was I given something tangible, or was I given something more that I haven't seen the purpose yet? And then we're going to accept a compliment or gesture of appreciation without deflection or denial. I like that too, getting out of the mindset of having to deny compliments. Like we shouldn't feel good about being told things about ourselves, or when someone wants to do something nice for us. We've been so stuck in this, oh, well, now I owe them something.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. I think that's what makes it so hard for people, is because they just don't want to have to do something for somebody else. As sad as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, but if you do this for me, then I got to do something for you. I don't want that energy at all. If I offer something to you, it's because I want to do it for you. It's not because I'm expecting something later.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would that be nice? Like if I call on you and you're like, yeah, I'll do it for you because obviously you're there for me. And then it's a good exchange. Not that I expect it, but it would be nice that it's just openly like, no, yeah, 100%.
Well, that's the difference, is that it's not transactional. It's not like you're swiping, back and forth. It's kind of like when you go to lunch with friends and everyone's like, oh, it's my turn to pay this time. And you say that confidently, even though you really don't know. Your friends, you just kind of take turns, and everyone kind of just knows everyone eventually takes it. So it's not a big deal. It's kind of the same with some of that too.
Right, for sure.
And so, I meant that heavily for myself, of just almost having to force to see the positive. but also really, and I've said it a couple times before, of taking people for what they say they are instead of being suspicious, you know? It has
Right.
no effect. If you're just giving me kindness, I'm just gonna take it as kindness now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to think that there's an agenda. I'm not gonna write down, "Oh, I owe you anything." I'm just gonna take it for what it is.
Yeah.
So that's something too is
And then at the point, if somebody does come in and they're like, "Well, yeah, but I did this for you." Exactly. And that's what you did. And we need to give them that reciprocation of, "No, I understand what it was for at the time and how I took it." So whether or not you're trying to turn that into something else, so long as you don't turn it into to an argument, but like let them know, like, "No, this is how you said it. So this is how somebody should allegedly take it, and that's how we should live our
Mhm.
lives. Don't expect something
Right.
unless you want to come up front and say, 'Hey, I'm doing this because I expect
And
this
not
later.'"
not always holding suspicions
Right.
on others.
Exactly. And I think being open about it with that communication would allow people to understand it a little bit better and maybe utilize it a little bit more. And then maybe it would just be more of a common thing that people would do just because you started doing it,
No,
because you would
100%.
do it to one person would do it to two. And then next thing you know, it's just common knowledge.
Well, with that, we're going to leave you guys for today, and you're going to receive what is offered as confirmation of growth rather than coincidence. So we're going to take whatever gifts are given to us today as like a confirmation of our growth, of whatever we're doing, whatever we're trying to do,
Yeah.
and then just keep going. But that's all we have for you guys today on June 19th, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy these 4 stories.
See you guys. Love you.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Freyr's Sword. In the days when gods still walked the 9 realms, there lived Freyr, lord of sunlight, peace, prosperity, and fertile harvests. Among the treasures possessed by the gods, none was more remarkable than Freyr's sword. Forged by dwarven craftsmen, whose skills surpassed that of any mortal smith, the blade possessed a magical gift. It could fight on its own, striking true against any foe without the need for a hand to guide it. Freyr treasured the weapon, for it had accompanied him through many victories and stood as a symbol of his power among the Aesir. Yet there came a day when he climbed Hlidskjalf, Odin's high seat, and gazed across the worlds. From that lofty throne he looked into Jotunheim, the land of the giants, and there he beheld a maiden of extraordinary beauty. Her name was Gerther, daughter of the giant Geimer, and the light that surrounded her seemed to illuminate the very sky. From the moment Freyr saw her, his heart was consumed with longing. He returned home trembling and silent. He returned home troubled and silent, unable to eat, sleep, or take pleasure in anything he once enjoyed. Seeing his distress, his servant, Skirnir, urged him to reveal the cause of his sorrow. At last, Freyr confessed his love for Gerther and his despair that she lived far away among the giants. Skirnir offered to journey to Jotunheim to seek Gerther's hand on his master's behalf. Freyr eagerly agreed, but Skirnir demanded a worthy reward before undertaking such a dangerous mission. He asked for Freyr's magnificent sword, the weapon that could fight by itself and ensure victory in battle. Though the request pained him, Freyr's desire to win Gerther's affection outweighed every other concern. He surrendered the sword and entrusted it to his servant. Armed with the magical blade, Skirnir traveled across rivers, mountains, and the wild borders of Jotunheim until he reached Gurthur's hall. There he presented gifts and promises, yet she refused them all. Only after great persistence, threats, and solemn oaths did Gurthur finally agree to meet Freyr. Skirnir returned to Asgard bearing the news, and Freyr's sorrow was transformed into joy. In time, Gurthur came to him, and the two were united. Yet the price of that happiness would one day reveal itself. When the final battle of Ragnarok arrived and the powers of chaos marched against the gods, Freyr faced the fire giant, Surtur, without the sword he had once possessed. Though he fought bravely, he lacked the weapon that had made him nearly invincible. Thus, the gift Freyr surrendered for love brought him both great happiness and eventual loss. His choice remained woven into the fate of gods and giants alike, remembered as one of the most significant bargains in Norse mythology. Story 2: Jason and the Golden Fleece. Long ago in the city of Iolcus, a young prince named Jason learned that the throne belonging to his family had been seized by his uncle, Peleus. Though Jason had been hidden away and raised in safety, the time eventually came for him to return and reclaim what was rightfully his. When Peleus saw the grown prince arrive, he feared a prophecy that foretold danger from a man wearing only one sandal. Jason, having lost his sandal while crossing a river, appeared exactly as the prophecy described. Seeking to rid himself of his rival without openly refusing him, Peleus gave Jason a seemingly impossible task. He promised to surrender the throne if Jason could travel to the distant land of Colchis and bring back the Golden Fleece, a sacred treasure guarded far beyond the known seas. Determined to succeed, Jason gathered many of the greatest heroes of Greece. Together they built the ship Argo and set sail upon dangerous waters. Their journey carried them through unfamiliar kingdoms, treacherous coastlines, and lands filled with wonders. They faced harpies, hostile rulers, deadly rocks, and countless challenges that tested both courage and wisdom. After many adventures, the Argonauts finally reached Colchis. There, King Aeetes possessed the Golden Fleece and had no intention of surrendering it. Instead, he assigned Jason a series of impossible trials. The hero was ordered to yoke fire-breathing bulls, plow a field with them, and sow it with dragon's teeth from which armed warriors would spring forth. Yet the gods had not abandoned him. Aeetes' daughter, Medea, skilled in powerful magic, fell in love with Jason and secretly resolved to help him. She provided enchanted ointments that protected him from the bull's fiery breath and advised him how to overcome the warriors that emerged from the dragon's teeth. Through her guidance, Jason completed the tasks that should have destroyed him. Even then, the king refused to honor his promise. The Golden Fleece remained guarded by a sleepless dragon coiled around the sacred tree where the treasure hung. Under cover of darkness, Jason and Medea approached the grove. Using her enchantments, Medea lulled the great serpent into a deep sleep. Jason stepped forward and lifted the shining fleece from its branches. Its golden wool gleamed in the moonlight like sunlight captured in cloth. With the prize secured, the Argonauts fled Colchis and began the long voyage home. The journey remained filled with danger, but the impossible quest had been completed. Jason had crossed the sea, overcome trials beyond mortal expectation, and claimed the treasure that many believed could never be won. Story 3: The Corn Maiden's Gift. Long ago, when the world was still young and the people were learning how to live upon the earth, a great hardship fell across the land. The rains failed to come, the streams grew thin, and the fields yielded little food. Families worked from dawn until dusk, yet their stories dwindled with each passing season. The people prayed for guidance, wondering how they could survive if the scarcity continued. Among them lived a young woman of extraordinary kindness and quiet wisdom. Though she possessed no wealth and held no position of authority, she spent her days helping those around her. She shared what little food she had, comforted the elderly, and encouraged the discouraged. While others worried about their own survival, she thought constantly of the well-being of the community. One evening, after the people had gathered to pray for relief, the young woman wandered beyond the village and sat alone beneath the fading light of the setting sun. As she looked across the dry earth, she felt deep sorrow for the suffering around her. It was then that a radiant being appeared before her. The figure seemed woven from sunlight itself, and its presence filled the air with warmth and peace. The spirit spoke gently, explaining that the people could be sustained if they learned to live in harmony with the gifts of the earth. Yet such a blessing would require sacrifice. The young woman listened carefully, understanding that she had been chosen for a purpose greater than herself. Though the path ahead frightened her, her love for her people overcame the fear. When she returned to the village, she shared what she had learned. The people listened with reverence as she spoke of gratitude, stewardship, and the sacred relationship between humanity and the land. In the days that followed, she prepared herself for the task the Spirit had entrusted to her. According to the old stories, the young woman eventually gave herself so that new life might flourish. From the place where she rested, green shoots emerged from the earth. Those shoots grew into corn, a gift unlike any the people had known before. The stalks rose high beneath the sun, their leaves rustling in the wind, and golden ears formed upon them. The harvest that followed nourished the village and ensured the future generations would not face the same hunger. From that time forward, the people honored the Corn Maiden and remembered her sacrifice. They treated corn not merely as food, but as a sacred gift, a reminder of generosity, responsibility, and the connection between human life and the natural world. Each harvest carried the memory of the maiden, whose gift continued to sustain her people long after she was gone. Story 4. The Cauldron of Dagda. In the age when the Tuatha De Danann ruled Ireland, there existed 4 great treasures brought from the mysterious northern cities where the divine people had learned wisdom, magic, and craft. Among these treasures was the mighty Cauldron of Dagda, a vessel unlike any known among mortals. It belonged to Dagda, the great father god whose strength, generosity, and authority were renowned throughout the land. The cauldron was vast and wondrous. Its sides were dark and polished, and its rim seemed to glow whenever firelight danced across its surface. Yet its greatest marvel lay not in its appearance, but in its power. No company, no matter how large, could ever leave the cauldron unsatisfied. Whenever food was prepared within it, there was always enough for every guest. No worthy person departed hungry from Dagda's hall. The Tuatha De Danann treasured hospitality above many virtues. Travelers, warriors, poets, and nobles often gathered at feasts where stories were shared and alliances were forged. During such gatherings, Dagda's cauldron stood at the center of the celebration. Servants carried steaming potions to every corner of the hall, and no matter how many people were present, the vessel continued to provide. The abundance seemed endless, as though the cauldron itself drew upon the generosity of the earth. When conflicts arose between the Tuatha De Danann and their enemies, the cauldron became even more valuable. Warriors returning from battle found nourishment waiting for them. Communities struck by hardship received aid from those who possessed plenty. The gift represented more than food alone. It symbolized the responsibility of those people whose abundance to care for others. It symbolized the responsibility of those blessed with abundance to care for others and strengthen the bonds that united the people. Many treasures of myth granted power, victory, or wealth, yet the Cauldron of Dagda offered something different. Its blessing was sustenance. In a world where hunger could threaten entire communities, the promise that all would be fed carried tremendous meaning. The cauldron transformed generosity into something tangible, ensuring that prosperity flowed outward rather than remaining in the hands of a few. The stories tell that the 4 treasures remained among the most sacred possessions of the Tuatha De Danann, and the Cauldron of Dagda was remembered as one of the greatest among them. Long after the age of heroes faded into legend, tales of the miraculous vessel endured. Around fires and in great halls, storytellers continued to speak of the cauldrons that never failed, the gift that never diminished, and the generosity that grew stronger each time it was shared. Daily Thread for June 19th, The Gift. Human beings have always been fascinated by gifts, not merely because of their value, but because of what they represent. A true gift carries meaning beyond the object itself. It may arrive as a reward earned through perseverance, a blessing bestowed through generosity, responsibility entrusted to a worthy recipient, or an opportunity that must be used wisely. The ancient stories often remind us that the greatest gifts are rarely accidental. They are connected to courage, sacrifice, character, or the willingness to undertake a difficult journey. Yet these traditions also recognize that every gift carries a choice. A treasure may bring prosperity, but it can also demand stewardship. A reward may fulfill a longing, yet it may also reveal new responsibilities. The value of a gift is therefore measured not only by what is received, but by what is done with it afterward. Across cultures and centuries, storytellers understood that abundance without gratitude is quickly squandered, while even the simplest blessings can become transformative when treated with reverence. Whe- Whether the gift takes the form of wisdom, nourishment, love, opportunity, power, or provision, its purpose is rarely meant to end with the recipient alone. The most meaningful gifts continue outward, enriching families, communities, and future generations. The old story suggests that worthiness is not found in possessing a gift, but in recognizing its significance and using it well. In the end, blessings reveal character as much as they reveal fortune. For what we do with what we have been given often becomes part of the legacy we leave behind. What was I given?